Yeah, so this is advanced Python programming, and I'm Sean.
And I'm Andy.
Yeah. Oh my
That
gosh.
was so
Okay.
bad.
So what you're gonna expect in this course is all the fundamentals of Python, but it's like at a much more faster pace. So you're gonna learn everything at the same time, but we're not gonna hold your hand. And think of this as a pacer or like a guide on what to learn. We're gonna collaborate, and you're gonna have like small projects, and we're all learning together. Me and Andy, we're on pros. I'm gonna be honest. And it's more project oriented, so we're just gonna give you small ideas to test out your skills. So the reason why we chose Python is because it's one of the easiest coding languages to learn, and it's a lot more forgiving in terms of syntax and specificity. And so instead of being so a lot of programs they have this thing called a interpreter, or a compiler, and so it will convert the code, the stuff that you type into, and it'll compile it into machine code. But instead of that, Python is executed at runtime, which makes it slower, but it makes it easier to develop. So the trade-off is that Python development time is really easy. You can write a lot more simpler scripts at a lot less time, but it is very slow compared to other languages. So that's a trade-off that you're going to have to know. But for basic programming, it's basically the same thing. You can't tell the difference. And the reason why Python shines is because it has a lot of libraries. And libraries are pre-written blocks of code that simplify complex tasks. And they range from neural networks to programs that display graphs. And usually, if you want to program those kind of things in other languages, such as C++ or Java, they take way longer, and it's much more difficult to do.
Oh, wait just a second. Someone wants to join.
Hello, Kai. Okay, next.
All right,
hello.
next.
All right. I just overslept slightly. Yeah. I woke up at 7:02 and I was like, oh crap, they're meeting right now.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So who is Python for? So Python is for everyone. So it's for people that like have never made like a single program in their life, and for people that are good in other languages but have never tried Python. But either way, you can adapt quite easily. And using Python, you can become a data and AI scientist, and maybe you'll use like TensorFlow or Matplotlib. And some jobs that you can go into by using programming are data scientists, software engineers, and machine learning specialists. And I think, as Sean said before, Python is one of the most popular programming languages in the world because it's known to be like simpler than other programming languages. You can do scripting and automating web browsing, and also an important note, there are two versions of Python, Python 2 and Python 3, and it's better if you use Python 3 because it's the latest version. So there are different ways to program in Python. You can use Replit, which Sean sent out earlier. So it's an online browser-based coding environment. It's free, and you can make an account quite easily. And you can share REPLs or your coding environment with other people. It's just like Google Docs. The downside of it is that it's kind of slower. Sometimes it'll like crash for no reason. Yeah, and yeah. So far, we'll be programming like on Replit for now, and it can run on a potato. I don't even know what that means. There's also PyCharm. It's a software you can download onto your computer. It's also free and offline, and it's a little faster than Replit. And there are many custom libraries that you can use for your own programs. Unfortunately, you can't collaborate, and it's not as good as running on a potato as Replit.
Yeah, it's more computer resource intensive. So if you have a potato, then I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna start to learn. So preferably you should have your Replit account ready. Yeah.
Wait, what just happened?
Huh?
You're just teaching us how
What
to
happened?
print stuff.
Oh yeah.
It just went silent.
We're just waiting for everyone to pull up their Replit account. Wait, you should teach them how to like make the REPL thing or whatever. I don't know. Just
Sorry, should I just demonstrate on
just
Replit?
show them like make one.
Okay. So I guess
All right. So once you make the account, you just have a bunch of buttons, and so
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff down here. So yeah, you can go to the top right. It says new REPL, and you can choose the language you want to program in. So you can choose Python, and then Replit will give you sometimes it'll give you some weird names, but you can change it to like something else.
And once again, you can share it with us. It's like Google Doc, so
Yeah, there's a share button
it's
right here.
really good for like debugging code and stuff. Yeah, so 50 people can be on it at once, which I think is unnecessary, but it's fine. So tell us when you're ready. All right, ready? One person? Ready? All right. Ready? Everyone's good? And all right.
I can't see what people are saying right now, though.
There's 4 people ready. We need more. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I don't know. Should I just share with people?
No. We don't need to. All right.
Okay.
Back to the presenting slide. All right. So we're gonna learn how to print, and so if you're familiar with programming, everything that you see and you interact with is text. So this is the most fundamental function that you can use, which is the print function. So all you have to do is type print and then have 2 parentheses and use quotes, double or single, and you can type whatever you want into it, and that's how you print. And it's already a lot more easier than Java. So yeah.
Yeah, and also C, where you have to. It's instead of print, it's printf, and sometimes you have to put in some kind of format. Next one, okay.
All right. We're jumping really fast. All right. So the next thing we have is variables and data types. And so variables are basically like the mathematical equivalent. So they just store different data types or data values. And the way you create them is you can choose any unique name, such as X, Bob, or like any string, right? And it can't start with a number or symbol. And you can also have it start with a built-in function. For example, keywords such as for, true, false. And so there are different types of data types, right? So one is a string, and that's just text. And then there's also numerical ones, which is an integer and a float. An integer is just whole numbers, they're negatives and zero. So -1, 3, 0, or 1,000. And then the float is any number with a decimal. A Boolean is just any data type that holds a true or false value. And these are the most basic data types. And one thing you can also do is begin a comment with the hashtag, just for like keeping track of your code, because you want it to be as readable as possible.
Oh, wait, someone has to join. All right, next one.
Okay. So the thing about hello Dan. So the thing about Python is that you don't have to write the type of variable before. Python already figures that out. So as you see in this example, Python will already figure out what kind of data type it is. So see from this example, very easy. And yeah, if anyone has questions, JavaScript, I think you have to say like var before it or anything. Don't just say var before it. A Python is just whatever. It's like val equals 9,000 or x equals y.
Yeah, you don't have to say something like int or string before the variable.
Yeah. Anyone have questions?
Okay.
No questions? Okay.
And here's another example. So you can also find out what kind of data type variable is. And you can do print type and then put the variable in parentheses. So in this case, we have a variable x equals 3.14. And then when you put x into that this print type function, then it will return the data type. In this case, it's float because it's a decimal. What?
Yeah, we're your guides. We're not teachers, so yeah, we're just bros helping each other out. So yeah, think about that. And so, okay, Booleans are again simply variables that store true or false. True or false. And when you declare a Boolean, the Boolean must be capitalized. So you can have a lowercase t. It must be capital. It starts with a capital T or a capital F. And so just again, you can choose any string that doesn't start with a symbol, and then you can say it equals true. And in this example, you can set a variable to a mathematical statement. So for example, the first one is 10 greater than 20? And so the variable will store that data. And you can see on the right that it's false. 10 is not greater than 20. And for the third one, 10 equals 10, that's a true statement, so it'll print out true. So if you want to check something that's really complex, this is a really simple case, but for more complicated cases, you can print out and to check if it's true or false. All right, so we're going to learn input and basic concatenation. To get input, you're going to use the input function, and whatever is inside the parentheses is the prompt that's going to be printed in the text. And also for concatenation, you can use the plus sign to combine the strings. And so for Python, you can't combine integers into strings. In this example, right, if you ask Python to print the string version of 2 plus the numerical version of 5, Python gets confused. So is it 25 or 7? So you have to be very specific in what you want it to print.
All right. So here's a user input example. So here there's a variable that asks for the user to input what is your name, and here next line it says print hello, and then here's where the concatenation is. So in Python, you can concatenate with a plus sign or a comma, and you can insert like whatever message you want in between it, like before or after.
Right.
And yeah, so right here, the user typed in their name was bruh. So yeah, they just the program returned, "Hello, bro. My name is Sean."
Yeah, that's how easy Python is.
Okay, and casting, it's converting a data type into another data type. So, for example, if you want to concatenate an integer to a string, then you would have to convert it to a string. So you can do this by getting the name of the data type and using parentheses. But there are some restrictions. So, for example, you can't cast a string into a Boolean, and if you convert a float into an integer, it will round down. So in this example, the float 2.8 rounds down to 2. And there are 3 main casting functions. There's string, int, and float.
Okay, so this is an example. So the year is 2020. That's what I said it, and it's automatically an integer. And then so if you wanted to cast it into a string, then you have to first convert it into a string. So that's what I did. I simply put str and then parentheses and then the name of the variable that I wanted to convert into a string. And then the statement is the current year is now, and then the quote, and then plus year, right? And if I didn't convert that beforehand, and if I tried to add an integer onto the string, then it would break down. So then you can see that the current year is now 2020. And for the sake of example, we converted the year into a float. And so if you convert an integer into a float, it'll automatically add a 0.0 at the end. Just for, knowing. Okay, so this is what we learned combined. This is just another example. So we have the variable x, and the input, it asks for what is the year. And so then it converts that integer into a string, and then it combines that string into the print statement. And then that's what you have. The year is 2020. It's not a good year.
Okay, here I'll be talking about operators. So they're used to perform operations on variables. And the first type is arithmetic operators. So some examples are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo, where you get the remainder of a division problem. There are also assignment operators, usually it's something to do with the variable. So equal sign by itself, it declares a variable. Like you could say x equals 4. There's plus equals, which adds a variable on the right to the variable on the left. So right here, a plus equals 5 is the same as a equals a plus 5. But usually it's better to say a equals a plus 5, because this is just a shortcut and it can confuse some people. And same with this one. It's minus equals, which is just subtracting a variable on the right to the variable on the left. And there are also comparison operators. There's equals equals, but it's not the same as regular equals, because equals equals is used for conditionals, and equal by itself is just used to declare variables. There's also exclamation point equals, which is just not equal, the opposite of equals equals. And then these 4 are just basic comparisons, like less than, greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to. And here's an operator example. So here there are 4 variables that are declared and initialized. So a equals 5, b equals 6, c equals 7, d equals 8. And then here I made these 4 variables, left these kind of empty. So here's an addition example. So e equals a plus c, and A is 5, C is 7, so that we'll get 12. Subtraction, there's F equals E minus D, so it'll take this result right here and then subtract 8. So that'll get 4. G equals F times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Division, it'll take 8 divided by 4, which is 2. And I don't know why that's it turned into a float. And then finally modulo. So here I did E modulo 2. So that was 12 modulo 2. And it returned 0 because 12 divided by 2 yields a remainder of 0.
Yes.
Okay. Now lists and dictionaries. So for lists, to declare a list, you have to give a name to your list, and it's very declaring it is very similar to declaring a variable. So it has to be a unique name. It can't have like the same name as a defined function already. And you separate items in your list with commas, and you can have any amount of items you want. And to access items from your list, you zero index them. So indices start at 0. So you can put print your list name and then put a number here. So if you put print list 0, you'll access the first item. Print list 1, then you'll get the second item, etc. And for appending or adding and removing an item, you just put the list name here, .append, put the name of the item in here, and same with remove. And for dictionaries, I haven't really used dictionaries that much, but yeah. To declare a dictionary, it's just like declaring a list. You give it a unique name, but this time items are in pairs. So on the left side, you can put a key, and then on the right side, you put a value. And these cannot be duplicated like in lists. So in lists, you can like repeat a word or a number as many times as you want, but you can't do that in dictionaries. And to access items from the dictionary, you print the dictionary and put the key in here. And appending and removing, you can update the key and then the value in here. And then changing a dictionary, you put the dictionary name, put the test or the key here, and then equals different.
Yeah. So the best analogy that I can come up with for a dictionary is a phone book. So let's say you have a bunch of names. So the names are the key, and then the values are the phone numbers, basically. So you can think of it as that.
And here are a few list and dictionary examples. So here, here's a card list. Like there's ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, jack, queen, king. And I was making like a blackjack example, so I made these lists too, like the card list for the player and the card list for the banker, and I left those blank. Also, and here there are more lists. Here's like the list of all the board members of Pioneers. Here's a fruit list and a chess piece list. And the dictionary, I just made a dictionary of like all the pool balls and the color and their number together.
All right. Wow. What this went way faster than I thought it would.
Yeah.
All right.
Same.
All right. So we learned basically 5 things today. We learned what is programming, what is Python and its strength. We learned printing, user input, variables, data types, concatenation and casting, operators, lists, and dictionaries. And yeah, so your homework is just to this is totally unnecessary, but like you can do whatever you want. This is just review over a lot of slides and test and experiment with the code. And so the mini project that we have is make a funny Mad Lib using concatenation, user input, and casting. You can use a range of variable types such as strings, integers, floats, whatever you want to use. And if you want to submit it to us, we have a link. So yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, we can answer them for you right now. And so what we do is we have these things called office hours, and we can stay for 30 minutes after. Just any questions, we'll try to help you as much as possible. And that's all of our social stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you can contact us in any of these ways.
No one has questions?
I'm just going to stop sharing now.